welcome back to my channel. I'm way too excited for today's video because it has to do with data, numbers, and all the nerdy things, and I'm just a total nerd at heart. So today we're gonna be doing like a mid-year check-in on all of the makeup that I've purchased throughout 2021. So I am doing a makeup rehab series, a low buy, if you will. I will have my series playlist linked down below, and every single month I've shared with you guys the amount of products or all of the makeup that I purchased. I share like PR that I brought in, things like that. So I share the products that I purchased as well as the products that I used up. And the other day, as I was like filling out my makeup inventory, updating spreadsheets, etc., I wanted to look at how many makeup products in each category I have purchased throughout the year of 2021, because I like thought about putting myself on like category specific no buys, and I was like, I wonder like just how many products within each category I've purchased. And as I was going through everything, I was like, this would be really fun to share in a video. So here we are. Today I'm going to be sharing with you all of the makeup products that I have purchased throughout 2021 so far. And like the number of primers I've purchased, as well as the dollar value per category. So like this year in 2021, I've purchased X amount of dollars in setting sprays. So if you guys are interested in this, I hope you are. I hope you're just as excited as me. Stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project painting content, or you just like to chit chat about makeup, I would love if you would consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's jump into the video. Okay, my lip gloss was not popping in the introduction. Hopefully it's popping now. Okay, I have all of the products laid out in front of me. I wasn't going to grab everything out because I have brought in 88 makeup products into my collection this year, and that is not including eyeshadow palettes, because I don't include eyeshadow palettes in my makeup inventory numbers. And as I was preparing this video, I was like, this is gonna be wild to clean up. Like, this is just not gonna be fun. But I'm doing it for you guys. I'm doing it for you. And also for me. I feel like it's just like more visually appealing if I can like show everything with you guys. So let's just jump right into it. I have 15 different categories that I have separated these products into, ranging from primer, foundation, concealer, all the way to like brows, face palettes, duos, and trios. And then separately, I have eyeshadow palettes. At the end, I will share the top 5 categories per like I'm so bad at explaining, and this is not gonna make sense. The top 5 categories per number of products I brought in. So like, for example, like the top 5 products in terms of the actual amount of products that I brought in. And then I will also share the top 5 categories in terms of dollars spent in 2021, because they differ a little bit. It'll make sense as I explain. This is a video you're just gonna have to watch all the way through, you guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's start with the primer category. I'm going to like reference my notes because there's a few products that I've actually like purchased and already finished up this year. So in the primer category, I have brought in 5 primers into my collection this year, which I feel like is way better than I normally do, because I have mentioned many times on my channel that primer, for some reason, I'm someone that's just like obsessed with trying new primers. And I will say I haven't been as excited about the primer category this year. I think part of that being I've been getting into like nailing my skincare routine, as well as testing out different SPFs. And sometimes I just use SPF as a primer. So the 5 primers that I brought into my collection this year, I purchased the Milani Chill Out Primer. This has quickly become a favorite of mine. I've raved about it many times on my channel. I also purchased the Auric Glow Lust, which I'm counting in the primer category. This is such a multifunctional product, but I count my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, which is similar to this, in my primer category too. It's just like an awkward product that I don't necessarily know where to categorize it, so I'm just going with the primer category. Next up, I purchased this one from LYS. This is the Secure Skin Gripping Serum Primer. This has 5% niacinamide and AHA. It's supposed to have pore and shine control. So I enjoy this primer. I don't think that this would be something that I personally would repurchase. It is a great gripping primer, and if you like the Milk Makeup Gripping Primer, I would recommend trying this out, because I believe this is like $18 or $20, and I think a full size of the Milk one is $30. So this one costs costs less, and I find this to be a little bit less finicky than the Milk one, but still offers that really, really great tack to the skin. I personally prefer the Urban Decay All Nighter primer for a gripping primer. That's just my go-to gripping primer. Still think this is a good one and definitely worth checking out if you are looking for a good gripping primer. And then most recently, I have brought in the Pacifica Vegan Collagen Skin Solve Prime, Blur, and Hydrate Primer. I've used this a few times and I have not been that impressed with this so far. This has glowing reviews on the Ulta website, and for me, I just like don't necessarily get the hype for that one, but we're gonna keep testing it. And then I also just recently purchased the e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer, which I have yet to test on my face, but I'm oh so excited about this. This has been on my wish list for at least a year, possibly a year and a half, and I don't know why I've waited so long to get this. There were times that I was ready to purchase it, but then I couldn't find it in stock on the Ulta or e.l.f. website. But I do finally own this and I'm very excited to test this out. So those are the 5 primers that I have brought into my collection this year for a total of $99.99. That is the total amount that I have spent on primer this year. Primer is something that, again, I said I love. Last year I went through 25 primers. Some of those were like deluxe size samples, and I was repurposing some of my primers last year just to get through some of them. So if there was an illuminating primer I didn't like, I would like mix it in with a lotion. So I am really happy that I've only brought 5 primers into my collection this year, and this is a category I would like to still kind of remain hyper focused on. And as much as I can do like a one in, one out sort of thing in this category, I would really like to do that. I'm comfortable with having spent $99 in the primer category. I don't think that's terrible, especially considering the Auric Glow Lust is $45. So this kind of makes up almost half of the category. Looking at this, it's actually 3 drugstore primers, and then this is like kind of mid-range. So that is it for my primer category. For foundation, this is where it gets a little bit wild. I have purchased 12 foundations / tinted moisturizers this year. I do love foundations. I feel like last year was the year that I really started to like enjoy testing new foundations. I purchased a bunch of foundations last year as well. So if I didn't say, I have brought in 12 foundations into my collection this year. I'm gonna go in no particular order, just in the order that they're kind of sitting out in front of me. So up first, I have the Shiseido Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation. I purchased this at the beginning of the year, and I still haven't even come on to review this on my channel. Spoiler alert for when I do review this, I do not like this. I'm going to be decluttering this. I have tried mixing this with glowy products, with like serum foundations to try and make this look less matte and less dry on my skin. And it just does not look good on my skin. Like, this is just not a good time for me. So that's a little bit of a disappointment. Here are a few of the tinted moisturizers that I brought in this year. I recently purchased the MAC Studio Radiance Foundation, which I've really been enjoying. This is beautiful on the skin. Also, the Urban Decay Stay Naked Hydro Maniac, not a favorite. I was really expecting to love this just based on the reviews that I had been seeing, and this has not been a favorite of mine so far. The Fenty Beauty Ease Drop, everyone also raves about this, and I have not been a big fan thus far. However, I will say, if I really do a nice job of like prepping my skin, there have been some days I've used this and really enjoyed this. It's just a very finicky product in my opinion, so I don't necessarily feel like there's a part of me that's like starting to really come around to this product, and I'm like, maybe this actually is one of my favorite tinted moisturizers, but I can't say that yet because I need it to just consistently work for me for a really long time before I can like say with confidence that I would repurchase this. But the last few times I've used this, I've been like, maybe this would be a repurchase. Also, this has been a favorite find of the year. This is the Nabla Skin Realist Beautifying Tinted Balm. This is so beautiful. This offers a nice like light to medium coverage if you build it, and it just gives the most like natural, healthy glow to the skin, and I've been a huge fan of this. You guys know I've been raving about Nabla all year long on my channel. From LYS, I also picked up their Triple Fix Serum Foundation. I also think this is a really nice foundation. I was surprised by this. I kind of just picked this up on a whim when LYS first came to Sephora. And so far I've been really happy with this. I also picked up the Givenchy Prism Libre Skin Caring Glow Foundation. I haven't tried this one yet. I need to self-tan again before I can try this. The excuse I gave to myself for purchasing this was that I needed a new foundation in my summer shade. And I think this is gonna be too dark even when I'm self-tan, but we're gonna make it work. Also, the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder Foundation. I purchased mine in the shade 7 Medium. I purchased this with the Givenchy as a summer shade. This is super glowy, so I will say I prefer to mix this with a little bit more of like a mattifying foundation. I like to do like a one part sort of concoction. I really like mixing it with my Too Faced Peach Perfect, or I have enjoyed mixing this with the Pat McGrath foundation as well. That's a little bit more light coverage. I would not, at this point in time, this isn't a review video, so I don't know why I'm like reviewing everything. I haven't reviewed this yet on my channel, but at this point in time, I would not come back to repurchase this. I also picked up a deluxe size of the Herborian CC cream. I've been a big fan of this. This is something I will want to continue to own in the future. Recently, you guys saw me just haul these in my last makeup rehab, but I picked up the Tarte Hydroflex Serum Foundation as well as the Huda Glowish Multi-Dew Skin Tint. Also, I picked up the NYX Born to Glow foundation this year to test out for a splurge or save video that I need to get around to doing, but this was supposed to be not necessarily a dupe, but similar to the Armani Neo Nude foundation, which I love. So I've been really happy with this one this year as well. So those are the 12 foundation sort of products that I purchased so far this year, totaling $399.50. I did just do like the retail value of everything. Some of these things I like purchased during a sale, etc. But yeah, $400 on foundation this year. That is a little bit excessive. When I like started to look at how much I've actually spent in each category this year, I was like, ugh. I have so many foundations in my collection currently to get through as well. I don't want to put myself on like a foundation specific no buy because I just know I won't be successful, and I really enjoy testing new foundations. But this is a category that I would really like to start keeping my eyes on, a little bit more. All right, for concealer, I have brought in 6 concealers to my collection this year. Many of them actually are drugstore. So 4 of them are drugstore. I did pick up the e.l.f. Flawless Brightening Concealer. Kelly Gooch was saying this is a really good sort of like makeup eraser sort of product, and that's really what I use this for. If I'm going with a really light coverage skin tint, or if I'm just doing my Drunk Elephant Debronzy drops and really no foundation or anything like that, sometimes I'll use this to brighten underneath the eyes. I've been a huge fan of this. This is something I would repurchase. I don't know why I'm giving my review on everything. I was like wanting this to be, I knew this one wasn't gonna be like a short video, but I'm making this longer than it needs to be. Also, my nose is so runny today, so if you notice it's getting like redder and redder, I apologize. Most recently, you guys saw me haul the Catrice True Skin High Cover Concealer. I also picked up the Revlon Candid Concealer this year and the NYX Born to Glow. And then the 2 higher end concealers I picked up this year, I picked up the Armani Beauty Power Fabric Concealer as well as the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. So my total spent in the concealer category so far this year is actually only $99.97. I think that is because many of the concealers that I brought in were drugstore. In my last makeup rehab update, I did put myself on a concealer no buy for the rest of the year. I think I can do this. I forgot to mention I do have an order on the way to me in my most recent makeup rehab update that comes or is coming with the Laura Mercier concealer. I was just talking about that so much on my channel that I was like, girlfriend, you just need to buy that again. So I did pick that up. That's still on its way to me. And if you placed an Ulta order over like $25, you got a free Kylie concealer, which I'm not sure I'm gonna keep because I already own a Kylie concealer. If I feel like the shade's gonna be a good shade for me when I am self-tanned, I will keep it. Otherwise, I'm just gonna pop it into a giveaway. Concealer though, like I need to just be on a no buy until I can get through like, honestly, like 4 or 5 concealers. My favorites are the Oma Beauty Stay Woke and then the Laura Mercier. So I need to cool it with the concealers because this is not a category I get like super excited to talk about. So that's where we are with concealer. For powder, I'm missing 2. Okay, for powder, I have 4 powders that I brought into my collection this year. One of them is the NYX High Glass powder, and I cannot find that anywhere. So I don't have that to show to you guys, but I did bring that in. I also picked up the Kosas Kosas Cloud Set powder. I have mine in the shade Feathery. I've used like a good chunk of this, but I also got hard pan on mine because I used a wet sponge on this and I was an idiot. I really like this for setting underneath my eyes, but other than that, it's not my favorite for all over the face. Maybe after I wear away the hard pan, I'll enjoy it more for all over the face, but this is where we're at with that. Seriously, I keep reviewing everything. I'm sorry, you guys. I just like clearly love to talk about products. I also picked up the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Foundation. This is a powder foundation, but I just use it as an all-over setting powder, so I include this in my powder category. I've been a big fan of this, as you guys may know. And then most recently, I picked up the Dior Powder No Powder, and I've been a huge fan of this so far as well. So I'm very happy to have this in my collection. So I brought in 4 powders for a total of 122. Powder is obviously something that I've realized that I definitely prefer higher end powders. So I brought in less, but it cost me more. Like it's just a more costly category. This is also a category I would like to keep smaller in my collection. I am looking for a good, like, not radiant, but also not totally matte, loose powder. I love my Glossier powder, but I want your guys' recommendation on another good loose powder for dry skin gals that's not going to like just make me so matte and cakey. I would love to know. I have definitely been preferring a pressed powder lately, and this is another category that I really feel like I do not need to purchase any more powders for a while. Like I feel good with powder. It's a category in my makeup collection that I've definitely come to appreciate more throughout the years, but it's still not a category that I get like super excited to talk about, if that makes sense. Next up for the setting spray category, this is one of the categories that I have purchased and used up 2 of the products that I have brought in. So I've purchased 6 setting sprays so far this year. One of them was the Milk Hydro Grip setting spray, which I had purchased in the deluxe size, and I have gone through that. And then I also purchased the Milani Chill Out setting spray, and I finished that up this year as well. And then I also picked up 2 of the MAC Fix Plus setting sprays. This is a favorite spray of mine for like melting my powders and using throughout my makeup application. And these were half off during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, so I couldn't pass up the opportunity to pick up a couple of those. I also picked up the L'Oreal Illumi Shake and Glow Dew Mist. I wanted to see if this was similar to the Tatcha Luminous Skin, and I've already gone through like a good chunk of this as well. I use so much spray, you guys. And then I also picked up the Urban Decay All Nighter Glow after I finished off my Urban Decay All Nighter, because I was interested to see if I liked this more, because I was hoping it would lock my powders into place but still offer me a glow, and I do feel like it does that. So in the future, I think I will opt for this over the original All Nighter. So for my spray category, like I said, I brought in 6 setting sprays for a total of $104.98. This is a category that I don't get too worried about. I never feel like my setting spray collection is like out of control. That could be because I use so much setting spray. I'm curious, how many setting sprays? I think I used 16 last year. Yes, I went through 16 setting sprays last year. I never feel like this category is too out of hand for me, and it's also a category that I like to dabble between drugstore and high-end. Like I have my high-end staples, my MAC Fix Plus, Urban Decay All Nighter, but other than those, I'm like good with dabbling between drugstore and high-end, so this category really doesn't make me too nervous. And $104.98 is a lot for setting spray, because if I kept on the same track, I would spend over $200 just in setting spray this year, which seems crazy. So maybe I'd like to reel it in just a little bit. But that is where we're at for the setting spray category. For bronzer, I brought in 10 bronzers this year. I do love bronzer. Let's chat about the bronzers that I brought in. Okay, up first, I have this one from Mented Cosmetics. This I have enjoyed, but I just mentioned, I don't know why I'm reviewing this again. I'll finish my thoughts. I just mentioned that this has not the best lasting power, so I don't know that I love this. I definitely wouldn't repurchase. And actually, I'm kind of considering decluttering this. I love how it looks on the skin, but it just does not last. And it'll like wear away, and then I look really weird because it just looks weird. Anyway, also I picked up the LYS bronzer, and I have mine in the shade Harmony, which is the second lightest shade. This bronzer has been okay. Also, I picked up the Huda Beauty Glowish bronzer, which I have really been enjoying. I have mine in the shade 3 Tan Light. This is really beautiful. I've been super impressed with this. The fourth bronzer, this is the last powder bronzer that I brought into my collection this year. This was a hefty price tag. This was a treat yourself sort of moment, but I did pick up the Tom Ford bronzer. I cannot get this open. I have mine in the shade 2 Terra. I thought I was purchasing, I thought the $75 one was like the big jumbo size. Nope, it's not. But anyway, purchase that. And then I actually have brought in more like cream products to my collection in this category than I have powder, which does make me happy because I have been having a ton of fun testing out and experimenting with cream and liquid products this year. So when I see myself like dabbling in things that I don't have as many of, like if I had purchased 10 powder bronzers, I would be like, girlfriend, like we need to like sit down with ourselves and just reflect a little bit. Which still, I do need to do a lot of reflecting on my makeup spending habits, but I am happy that I was experimenting with other formulas. So I did pick up the Patrick Ta Duo in She's Statuesque. I have the lightest one, so this doesn't necessarily work for me in the summertime when I have more of a self tan, but I'm really excited to play around with this more in like the fall winter, because a few times I tested this out, I did really enjoy it. I thought it was really pretty. I'm a huge fan of Patrick Ta products, so I was very excited to pick this up. I also really enjoy Persona Cosmetics, so I was excited when the brand launched a cream bronzing stick. I have mine in the shade Dune. I will say I personally prefer the Milk Makeup bronzing stick. I just feel like it lasts longer, but this is really nice. It's very creamy and it's pretty easy to work with, so I think very beginner friendly. The only problem I've had with this is that sometimes it like is a little bit patchy or like picks up my foundation, so I definitely prefer this when I'm doing more of like a reverse foundation. Here I am reviewing again. The ColourPop Soul Body Cream Bronzer. I was so excited to finally get my hands on this because I swear every time I wanted to order this, they were just out of stock. And I finally got my hands on this. I've really enjoyed this. From Danessa Myricks, I have the Power Bronzer Matte Bronzing and Shaping Cream. I've been a huge fan of this as well. From NARS, I picked up their Sun-Kissed Bronzing Cream in Laguna. Also been a big fan of this. Again, I've been having so much fun just playing around with different formulas. And then I also picked up from Iconic London. This is a Samantha March Made Me Buy It moment. I picked up the Sheer Bronze like liquid bronzer. This is really interesting. On days that I am doing, like if I'm doing no foundation but I want to look a little bit bronzed, I will use this because it is really sheer and it's so easy to work with. I've been really happy with this as well. So I did bring in 10 bronzers for a total of $314. Now I will say this was $75, which is outrageous. And I also will say bronzer is a category, for the most part, most categories, I do prefer high end. So there's that. I'm a little bit uncomfortable that I've spent over $300 just on bronzing products. But will I say that I won't buy another bronzer this year? Of course I won't, because I cannot promise you that. So that is where we're at for the bronzer category. So before I go grab my next heap of products, we're gonna go through face palettes. I have a lot of blushes. So we're a little bit out of order, but I do have my face palette sitting right in front of me. So we're gonna do face palettes next. I did purchase 4 face palettes this year, which I was actually kind of surprised about when I started to go through the numbers, because I'm not someone who usually likes face palettes, but looking at these, I'm very happy with every single face palette purchase of the year. So from RMS Beauty, you guys know how much I love their highlighting quad, so I was really excited when they released a blush quad. I will say I'm not as big of a fan of the blush quad as I am the highlighting quad. I definitely prefer the highlighting quad, but the reason being, if I had just like the actual pot of each of these single blushes, I would enjoy it. I think the formula is really nice. I just don't love like shoving my little finger into the little pan and then tapping it out. That's just not my personal preferred way of application for blush. But I'm still really happy with this, and I've really been enjoying using this year. From Nomad Cosmetics, I ended up tossing this into my cart so I didn't have to pay for shipping when I ordered a palette from them. But I'm really happy with this palette. This is the Kiss of Sun palette. It comes with like 3 highlighters and a bronzer. Some of these could be like a bronzer topper, obviously, but this is beautiful. The formula on everything in here is really nice. I love this bronzer and I love this pink toned highlight. So I'm really happy with this purchase as well. I also picked up the NARS Orgasm on the Beach face palette, which I have been such a fan of. Every single shade in this palette I get use out of. Even this like deep red shade, I just sheared out on the cheeks and it looks like sunburn. Love it so much. And then at the beginning of the year, I got my hands on the Lunar Beauty Moon Prism palette, which I had been wanting for so long, and I was so happy that I finally got it when it came back in stock. I just really enjoy this palette as well. I've been such a fan of blush this year, so I'm very happy to have this. So in the face palette category, I spent $170, which if you told me like, girlfriend, you spent $170 on face palettes but didn't show me the face palettes, I would be like, pretty uncomfortable with that. But truly, each of these, with the exception of maybe this, like I could, like if I didn't have this, I would be okay with. But these 3 face palettes I have been so happy with and have gotten so much use out of these, especially in terms of considering how much I usually reach for a face palette. So I am not mad at this part of my collection, if you will. I will say with face palettes, I already do this, but I want to continue to do this. I really try and think long and hard about a face palette purchase before I make it, with the exception of this. This was just, I tossed it into my cart. But like this NARS palette, I thought about for weeks, and I would think about this palette every day. So finally I was like, okay, clearly I want that palette. Same with the Moon Prism palette. Like I thought about this palette all of the time. Every time I felt like it was gonna be back in stock, I would go check for it and it wasn't. So I knew I really, really wanted these 2 palettes, and I really want a face palette before purchasing it, because I find myself struggling to be motivated to reach for face palettes at times. So I want to like really want it before I like dive in and make that commitment. Okay, I realized that I literally was supposed to leave my house 4 minutes ago. I'm supposed to drop my daughter off at my mom's, so I'm running out of time. So I'm not gonna actually physically show the rest of the products. I'm just gonna read off to you, and I'll try and take a picture and post it over here so that it's a little bit more visually appealing as I talk about this. But moving on to the blush category, I have purchased 14 blushes this year, right? Yes, 14 blushes. So I purchased the Rare Beauty Melting Blush. I will say I thought I really liked this. This definitely is not a favorite anymore, not something I would repurchase. Hopefully I can finish it, but I wouldn't repurchase or purchase any more shades in this. I also purchased a ColourPop blush from the Melrose collection. I really enjoy that blush because it's more of like a bronzy, like neutral blush, which is like right up my alley. Then I purchased, did I purchase 3 or 4? 3? 3 of the Novelist Skin Glazings in blush shades. Do not regret this at all. You guys know I have been raving about the Novelist Skin Glazings all year long. So I had purchased 1 shade, loved it so much that I went on to purchase 2 more. And I felt like I was doing a good job by only purchasing 2 more, because I think there's like 1 or 2 shades that I still don't have that I want. Also from Vive Cosmetics, which is Jamie Genevieve's makeup line, I purchased one of her blushes in the shade Sorbet, which I really enjoyed. I love Jamie Genevieve, and I really wanted to try her line, so it was the blushes that like pushed me over the edge to try it. I did end up purchasing a couple lip products from her as well. The Bare Minerals bronzer I have been loving. The Lawless blush in Angel Suede, been absolutely loving. I also picked up a Danessa Myricks. You can use them like cream lip eye. Not my favorite formula. It's a little bit stickier than I personally prefer, but I was really excited to try out another Danessa Myricks product. I also purchased another Fenty Cheeks Out cream blush. I love the Fenty Cheeks Out cream blushes, and I picked up the shade Strawberry Dip, which I've been so in love with, so don't regret that at all. I also picked up the Bite Beauty like blushes, the liquid blushes, cream, whatever you want to call them, that they released. It's okay. I did pick up one of the Melt Cream blushes, which I have been in love with. From Freck Beauty, I picked up one of their liquid blushes that I haven't tried yet. That was a spur of the moment. Like, I did not need to purchase that. I should not have. And then from Makeup by Mario, I recently picked up one of his cream blush sticks. So as you can see, I've picked up basically half and half creams / liquids, half powders, which I am happy about. 14 blushes is a lot. I spent $336 on blush, which is out of control. But I love blush so much. I can't confidently say I'll stop buying blush either. But when I saw that I spent $336 on blush, I was like, it's like definitely a plane ticket, if not like possibly 2 plane tickets to Las Vegas for my husband and I. So, gotta think that through. So this was super eye-opening, the highlight category. If you had asked me to tell you how many highlights I had brought into my collection, I would have guessed like 2 or 3. I brought in 11 highlighters this year, and I just have not been a huge fan of like super intense highlighting this year. So why have I brought in 11 highlights? So quickly, I purchased the ABH Iced Out Highlighter Decluttered, the Jaclyn Hill, one of the like, I forget what they call it, one of the single highlights. It's not my favorite. I think the formula is fine. I wish I had gotten a different shade, but I kind of regret that. I also picked up the Odin's Eye, one of their single highlights. Kind of regret that as well. It looked so pretty in the swatches, but I should have known it was gonna have glitter in it, which just is not my favorite for highlighting. From ColourPop, I picked up one of their Super Shock highlights in the shade Seismic. Also kind of regret this. This is very glittery and just not my jam. So that's 4 highlighters I regret buying. From Jouer, I picked up their Rose Gold highlight. I also regret that. Like, that was, I just shouldn't have picked it up. It was during the Sephora VIB sale. I was in the store. I don't really love it. From Say, I had picked up their Dew Balm and their Super Gel. I regret both of those. I think that they're both really poor quality. Not a fan. So 7 total. 7 of my 11 highlighters I regret purchasing. So I need to like really hone in and think about my highlighter purchases. The ones that I do not regret purchasing and I'm happy that I have are Milk Blitzed. I love the Milk highlight formula, and Blitzed is a really beautiful pink shade. I also picked up a Westman Atelier, is that right? One of their highlighting sticks, which is an interesting formula. I don't know that I would spend $48 on it again. I might though. It's so pretty. I probably would. So expensive though. But I have really been enjoying that. It's a little bit sticky, but it's like that off-duty model wet sort of look. Not necessarily something I would recommend wearing with like a full glam look, or even sometimes I just prefer it with a bare face of makeup just to make me look a little bit highlighted. Again, I'm just reviewing and I need to be going to my mom's. Lisa Eldridge, I just hauled one of her, I forget what it's called, but one of her highlighters. Been so loving that. And then also Makeup by Mario, I picked up one of his powder highlights and I've really been enjoying that. So total in the highlight category, I've spent $294 and I regret most of those purchases. I should not purchase any more highlight this year. I put myself on a powder highlight, no buy for powdered highlights. I would be interested in testing more cream and liquid highlights because I don't have that many in my collection. Mascara, I purchased $0, 0 mascaras. Lip balms, I have purchased 3? Where are we? Lip balm. Purchased 3. One of them was the Kopari Trio, and I counted that as 1, but technically I got 3 in that. I also picked up the NARS Lip Tint Oil in Orgasm. So pretty, love that. It was in my purse that got stolen out of my car, so I no longer have that. And then I also picked up the Innisfree, is that how you pronounce it? Their lip balm, which is super nice. I would consider this actually probably more of a skincare product for me just because I wear it at night, but it's really nice. In the lip gloss category, for lip balm, I spent $76 on lip balm, which for 3 lip balms, technically 5 though, that's not terrible. Lip balm is a category, like I use so much lip balm. However, because I use so much lip balm, I should find good drugstore alternatives or options. $76 on lip balm, that seems that kind of seems like a lot. But comparatively to my other categories, it's not. For lipstick, I have purchased 3 lipsticks/lip liners. I counted these in the same category. I picked up the Vive lipstick, the Vive lip liner, as well as a Natasha Denona I Need a Nude lipstick this year. I don't need any more lipstick. It takes forever to go through them. I really don't need any, especially considering I always purchase the same shade in lipsticks. But I purchased $78 worth of lip products this year. If I continue to get into lip liner, I would be okay with purchasing more lip liners as long as they were like a variety of shades, but I do not need any more lipstick, like at all. So, hoping to not buy any more lipsticks. Lip gloss. I brought in only 5 lip glosses this year, which I was really surprised by because I feel like I have purchased so many more lip glosses, but I think this could be because I have gone through so much lip gloss this year because I've really honed in on that category to use up my lip gloss. So I purchased the 3 Lawless Forget the Filler lip glosses, and then I also purchased 2 Rare Beauty, they're like Nearly Neutral Lip Balmy Gloss in Nearly Neutral and then Nearly Apricot, I believe. Or Nearly Peach, I can't remember. So in the lip gloss category, I spent $111. I'm actually not uncomfortable with this. I love every single lip gloss that I've brought into my collection this year. Lip gloss, I'm gonna get through all the glosses in my collection that I wouldn't repurchase, and then it's gonna be like my staples. And if I finish a lip gloss that's a staple, then I'll repurchase it. And I'll leave room for like testing other lip glosses, but yeah, I'm fine with this in the lip gloss category. Like I said, I felt like I brought in way more than 5, so there's that. For the eye category, not eyeshadow palettes, I brought in 1 eyeshadow single, and it was the Auric Single Shadow, $39. This is something that I feel like is, if it's cream shadow, I'm interested in trying more cream shadow this year. Liquid shadows, stay far away from, because I just don't use them. So $39 is expensive, but I was really excited to support Samantha Ravndal because I have loved her for so long. So I'm comfortable with that. For the brow category, I have purchased 2 brow products this year. One of them was the Undone Brow Pen, and then the other was the Kosas Brow Gel. I am not mad at either of these 2 purchases. $32.99 in the brow category. It still feels like a lot because usually I use like a brow powder, but I've been getting into a brow pencil and a tinted brow gel. So I'm good with $32.99. And then duos and trios, I purchased the Natasha Denona duo in the like Love collection, which I'm really happy with that purchase. And then I also purchased the Jaclyn duo, the blush and bronzer, which I don't love, so I kind of wish I did not purchase that. And in this category, I spent $78, which does feel kind of like a lot, especially because these are like kind of like face palettes to me where I just don't get a ton of use out of my duos and trios. So I want to think about this category, or just like think about my purchases in this category a little bit more, kind of treat them like a face palette and really make sure that I want that. But anyway, I did not add up my total amount spent because I'm too embarrassed, you guys. Like, I'm too embarrassed. I was adding it up and it was over 2,000 and I was like, I'm not sharing. You guys can go add it up if you want. But I did just really quick, palettes. By my best estimate, I have purchased 46 eyeshadow palettes this year. Please don't tell my husband. We're trying to rein it in palettes, and I did not go add up the total for this because I did not want to know. Okay, moving on. Okay, I quickly want to talk about top 5 in dollars spent and then top 5 categories in products brought in. So the top 5 in categories purchased. I'm gonna scoot over so I can like post a cute little graphic right here with my list so it makes sense. Okay, coming in at number 5 is spray and concealer. They were tied for 6 products purchased. Coming in at number 4, we have the bronzer category with 10 bronzing products purchased. Coming in at number 3, we have 11 highlighters purchased. Too many highlighters. Highlighters I'm embarrassed by. Coming in at number 2, foundation at 12. And then coming in at number 1, we have blush at 14. Okay. I just thought it was interesting to kind of look at this because I would have thought that I purchased more lip gloss this year than I did highlight. And that would make more sense for me to also have done that. So it's very interesting to look at this. And don't worry, guys, we'll be recapping everything at the end of the year as well because I had so much fun with this. And then in terms of dollar value, so the number 5 spot for dollar value was actually face palettes. This was really interesting to look at. So like I said, I spent $170 on face palettes this year. Coming in the 4th position, we have highlighter. Again, I'm just so embarrassed by this category. $294 spent on highlighter. Coming in at number 3, we have the bronzer category with $314 spent on bronzer. And then coming in at number 2, we have blush, $336 spent. And coming in at number 1, we have foundation with $399.50. So the dollar value is like what really grosses me out, to like look at the dollar value and think about like what $400 actually is. Literally plane tickets. So I don't think this will necessarily like change my habits much, but I would like to like have this list as something to like compare to or just like reflect back on or like touch back in on during some of my makeup rehab updates. I hope that this was a fun video to watch. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this. I would love to know what category have you purchased the most from this year as well as the least. Let's chat about it in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch this video, for never judging me and never making fun of me for spending way too much money on makeup. I do appreciate your support so much. But other than that, that's gonna wrap it up and I will catch you guys in my next video. I love you guys so much. Bye.